5 p.m. Wednesday night. The Indiana Fever post a status update on social media. Caitlin Clark, back, out. Tip-off is at 7. One fan posted online that he'd flown in from Montana to see Wednesday's game and the Friday game. A second wrote that he drove 5 hours with 4 tickets for his family, got to the parking garage, saw the notification on his phone, turned the car around, drove the 5 hours home, and ate Mexican food instead. A third fan said her wife and friends went down to the arena anyway, and they were furious. By the end of the night, the Indiana Fever had played in front of the emptiest arena of the Caitlin Clark era, a 17,000-seat building, mostly silent. Resale prices on the secondary market reportedly dropped below $10. Fans posted screenshots. The tickets didn't sell. The Indiana Fever beat the Portland Fire 90-73 in the first ever meeting between the two franchises. They had no business losing that game. They didn't. But the building was empty. Local reporters called it embarrassing. Fans on social media called it the emptiest the arena's been since Caitlin Clark arrived in Indianapolis. One viewer wrote, $8 on resale, and Indianapolis still said no. Check the times. Just before 5 p.m. Wednesday, the Indiana Fever post their official status report. Caitlin Clark, out. 5 p.m. Wednesday. Stephanie White says she found out Caitlin Clark wasn't going to play. 7 p.m. Wednesday. Tip-off. Nearly 2 hours after the team had already announced. The math doesn't work, and it gets worse. Stephanie White stood at her press conference Wednesday night and said, Caitlin Clark is healthy. Then she said the Indiana Fever are not managing anything. Then, in the same statement, she said, it's a back issue. She's healthy? We're not managing anything. This is just a back issue. We want to make sure we give the time to be ready. You can't be healthy and have a back issue. You can't be not managing anything and pull your starting point guard 100 minutes before tip-off. You can't have these three things be true at the same time. But Stephanie White said them at the same time, in the same press conference, to the fans who'd already paid for their tickets. A reporter asked her how she knew Caitlin Clark was healthy. Stephanie White said, she's not a doctor. That was the quote. The head coach of the Indiana Fever, explaining a back injury by telling the room she's not qualified to explain it. And then she laughed. Here's the part that gets uncomfortable. Caitlin Clark missed practice on Tuesday. She didn't suffer some sudden injury Wednesday afternoon. She missed practice Tuesday. The Indiana Fever's own head coach knew about it. The Indiana Fever did not list Caitlin Clark on their Tuesday injury report. Alexa Philippou, who covers the league for ESPN, wrote this on Wednesday night, on the record. Quote, given White said Clark did not practice yesterday, and there was no indication Clark was dealing with an ailment until she was ruled out 100 minutes before tip tonight. This is something the league may take a look at. End quote. Then there's Scott Agness, local Fever beat reporter, the man who covers this team every day. Scott Agness reported on Wednesday, and these are his exact words, Fever guard Caitlin Clark will not play tonight versus Portland Fire. I'm told it's part of a strategic management plan for the season. Tonight is the Fever's 4th game in 8 days. A strategic management plan. Planned. So either Stephanie White found out at 5 p.m. Wednesday afternoon, or it was planned for the season. Both can't be true, and the WNBA office in New York has a decision to make. Whether the league fines the marquee franchise for breaking the league's own injury reporting rule on the league's own marquee player. Now, about what happens after the game. 6 nights ago, Friday night, the Indiana Fever played the Washington Mystics. They lost in overtime, 104-102. Caitlin Clark scored 32 points, 5 three-pointers in the 4th quarter, game-tying buzzer beater to send it to overtime. Single-handed rescue act on a night the Indiana Fever had no business being in the building. After the game, a reporter asked Stephanie White about Caitlin Clark's performance. Stephanie White didn't mention Caitlin Clark by name. She said the whole group showed resilience. She said they made tough shots. She said the team had good time and score execution moments offensively and defensively. The reporters waited for her to name the player who just put up 32 to keep the game alive. The name didn't come. That was Friday. Then Wednesday. Stephanie White benched Caitlin Clark 100 minutes before tip-off. The Indiana Fever won. Then she walked to the podium again and contradicted herself 3 different ways trying to explain a player she still wouldn't name. One fan summed up the whole night in a single sentence. He wrote, if the Fever say it's sunny outside, I'm bringing an umbrella. Here's the part Fever fans in Indianapolis already know is broken. Stephanie White's job is to coach Caitlin Clark. She just chose, twice in 1 week, not to. Once at the free throw line Sunday night against Seattle, when she reached out and grabbed Caitlin Clark's arm on the broadcast, and once at a press conference Wednesday night, when she had nothing to say about her at all. Longtime sports fans in this country know what trust collapse looks like. October 8, 1957, Brooklyn. Walter O'Malley owns the Brooklyn Dodgers, the most loyal baseball fan base in America. Ebbets Field, Jackie Robinson, Pee Wee Reese, 2 World Series in 5 years. Walter O'Malley spent 2 years telling Brooklyn fans the Dodgers weren't going anywhere, telling them, to their faces, that the team was committed to Brooklyn. Then he moved them to Los Angeles. Brooklyn never came back to baseball the same way. 68 years later, there's still no Brooklyn team. There's still no trust. Because once you lie to your own fans, once you tell them what they want to hear and then do the opposite, you don't get to take it back. Indianapolis has been telling itself something for 2 years. The Indiana Fever are different. The Indiana Fever are protecting Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever know what they have. The umbrella line on the YouTube thread Wednesday night. The fan who wrote it isn't alone. Across hundreds of comments after the Portland game, the same sentence kept showing up. We're done. They've lost us. The front office can't be trusted. The emptiest arena of the Caitlin Clark era, on Wednesday night, says Indianapolis is starting to wonder. The head coach Kelly Krauskopf chose, back in November of 2024, is the same head coach who just chose to sit Caitlin Clark and not say her name. Krauskopf is the architect of the Indiana Fever, president of basketball and business operations, the woman who built this front office, the empty seats, the presser contradictions, the Tuesday practice that wasn't on the injury report, the silent post-game podium. They're all happening inside the building Kelly Krauskopf designed. And here's where it gets uncomfortable for the city of Indianapolis. 2 days before Wednesday night's game, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway named Caitlin Clark the Grand Marshal of the 110th Indianapolis 500 on Sunday, May 24th, the biggest civic event in the state. Indianapolis is honoring the player. The Indiana Fever can't even seem to remember her name. Friday night, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Indiana Fever hosts the Golden State Valkyries at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Another home game, another chance for 17,000 seats to fill up, or for the emptiest arena of the Caitlin Clark era to multiply into something the Indiana Fever can't explain away. Another chance for Stephanie White to stand at a podium and say Caitlin Clark's name, or to choose not to. The Indiana Fever have a decision to make before Friday's tip. They can tell their fans the truth, or they can keep choosing not to. They can pay the fine the WNBA may or may not levy. They can pretend the Tuesday practice that wasn't on the injury report didn't happen. They can pretend the math on those timestamps doesn't add up. But the fans already made their decision Wednesday, when most of the lower bowl never showed up. And on the YouTube thread Wednesday night, when one of them wrote that the only umbrella he was bringing to Gainbridge was for the lies. On Sunday, the city of Indianapolis is going to crown Caitlin Clark in front of 350,000 people at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Grand Marshal of the Indianapolis 500. The Indiana Fever just have to decide whether they're going to keep treating her like the player they're embarrassed to name, or like the player who built this franchise.